The command chamber on Valric Station was built to inspire fear. Its ceiling vanished into darkness, its jagged alloy walls reflecting the violet glow of tactical projections suspended in the air. Around an immense obsidian table sat the ruling commanders of the Dominion Ascendancy, an empire that had already consumed 46 star systems. Today, they would choose the 47th. At the center stood Fleet Marshal Kian. Her ash-toned skin bore the scars of decades of conquest, each one earned, none regretted. She had never known defeat, and mercy had never been part of her vocabulary. "Our next objective is insignificant," she said coldly. "A minor world known as Earth, third planet from a yellow dwarf. Its inhabitants call themselves humans." With a flick of her clawed fingers, a hologram ignited above the table. A small blue and green sphere rotated slowly. "Peaceful, fragile, they are undeveloped," Kian continued. "Limited orbital platforms, fragmented command structures, primitive weapons. They quarrel among themselves more than they cooperate." Several commanders exchanged satisfied glances. This would be easy. War Master Draxon leaned forward eagerly. "How large a force is required?" 50 vessels, Kian replied without hesitation. "This campaign will conclude within a single planetary cycle." Approval rippled through the chamber. Another world to strip, another population to chain. Only one voice hesitated. "I've reviewed their transmissions," Analyst Vorik said carefully. "Their culture is unusual. They create endless simulations of warfare, stories centered on conflict. It seems to fascinate them." "All inferior species fight," Kian dismissed. "The difference is scale. They clash with crude tools. We command antimatter and reality rupture." She marked the hologram with a crimson sigil. The culling mark. Across the galaxy, it meant one thing: absolute subjugation. 3 days later, 50 Dominion warships drifted in perfect formation, weapons primed, jump engines humming. Commander Kaleth stood at the center of her flagship's bridge, gazing out at a fleet capable of shattering worlds. "Jump sequence ready," the signal officer reported. "Proceed," Kaleth ordered, space twisted. Power surged, then, "Commander." The officer said again, uncertainty creeping into his voice. "We're receiving a transmission. Source." "Earth." That made no sense. "What does it say?" The officer stared at his console, color draining from his face. "Its coordinates and 4 words. Read them." His voice trembled. "Do you remember what you erased?" Silence fell over the bridge. The coordinates marked a dead system. Ashkar Prime. Every strategist in the galaxy knew that name, once radiant. 7 thriving worlds, trillions of lives, then nothing. Reduced to debris and lethal radiation, the Ravagers had done that. A species so powerful it had swept through half the galaxy until Ashkar Prime. Then the entire Ravager armada vanished. No survivors, no explanation. "Abort the jump," Kaleth said immediately. Seconds before transition, the fleet powered down. For the first time in Dominion history, an invasion halted before it began. Within hours, intelligence chambers across the Ascendancy ignited with activity. Records were unearthed. Archives reopened. Histories once sealed were dragged into the light. Strategist Kale Draven hadn't slept in 2 days. "The humans are not what they appear to be," he said quietly to the High Admiral. "Nothing about them aligns with expectation." He displayed a map of human-controlled space. "They possess exactly 47 orbital stations," he continued. "No more, no less." A coincidence? Until the energy readings appeared, civilian platforms drawing power rivaling military fortresses. Mining ships shielded like warships. Infrastructure pretending to be crude while operating far beyond known limits. "They're hiding their true capability," Kale said. "Deliberately." Then came the wars. Human conflicts ended too quickly. Casualties defied probability. Forces extracted civilians when logic demanded abandonment. Soldiers endangered themselves for strangers. Mercy appeared where none should exist. "They fight as if defeat isn't an option," the Admiral whispered. Kale opened one final archive, ancient footage, buried deep. Classified beyond reason, it showed the Ravagers fleeing, their massive armada breaking apart in panic, burning, detonating, scattering. Then the Hunters appeared, sleek ships. Smaller, perfectly ordered human vessels. They moved without hesitation, without waste. Every shot landed, every maneuver flawless. The recording ended in a blinding surge of light. When it cleared, everything was gone. The Ravagers, the humans, the planets. A new transmission arrived from Earth. This time it was a countdown. 72 hours, and falling. As the timer ticked down, uprisings erupted across occupied systems. Enslaved worlds rose simultaneously, coordinated with impossible precision. Dominion supply lines collapsed. Garrisons were overwhelmed. And then the galaxy began to speak. Species long silenced shared stories. Human ships stabilizing dying stars, then leaving without payment. Civil wars ended overnight after a single human envoy arrived. Plagues cured before distress calls finished transmitting. Defense arrays revealed only at the moment of extinction. "How long have they been watching?" the Admiral whispered. "Everyone," came the answer, "for centuries." Private transmission arrived. A human face appeared, calm, unadorned, no rank. "My name is Captain Hale," he said gently. "I oversee Haven Station 7. I'd like to talk." He didn't threaten. He didn't shout. He explained. "You are not monsters," Hale said. "You are afraid of weakness, afraid of being dominated the way you once were." Images appeared, ancient recordings of human ships fighting beside Dominion vessels against horrors known as the Rift Stalkers. "We stood with you once," Hale continued. "We believed you'd remember, that you'd choose partnership over domination. The countdown read 22 hours. If you withdraw, nothing happens," Hale said. "The timer stops. The galaxy heals." "And if we refuse?" the Admiral asked. "Then we stop asking politely." Behind him, figures stepped into view, human and not, dozens of species united under a single symbol. "We are not one planet," Hale said. "We are not even one species. Earth is only where we began." The transmission ended. As the countdown reached its final hours, Dominion fleets found themselves surrounded, not attacked, but contained. Allied forces appeared from nowhere, securing liberated worlds, protecting rebellions. At 3 hours remaining, Fleet Admiral Nyxara made her decision. She opened a full broadcast to every Dominion vessel. "All forces are to withdraw," she said steadily. "All enslaved beings are to be freed. All occupied systems released. We are going home." Chaos erupted across the channels, disbelief, rage, fear, but the order stood. She opened a direct line to Earth. "We accept your conditions," Nyxara said quietly. The countdown hit 0 and stopped. Across the galaxy, warships turned away. Prison gates opened. Camps fell silent. Within days, the final holdouts surrendered, isolated, unsupported, forgotten. Months later, Nyxara stood aboard a human station, watching her homeworld rebuild, not as an empire, but as a society. "Why did you spare us?" she asked. Hale answered softly. "Because once, when humanity was young and afraid, someone showed us mercy. We're only returning it." Beyond the viewport, former enemies worked side by side. Trade replaced terror. Cooperation replaced conquest. Alarms suddenly echoed, a new threat. A species called the Swarm, tearing through frontier systems. Nyxara turned to Hale. "Will you help defend them?" Hale smiled grimly. "Together." As united fleets vanished into hyperspace, the galaxy shifted, not through fear, but through choice. And on Earth, the old countdown display was replaced with a single message: "The galaxy stands."